podcast today. You are in for a big treat with one of my favorite clients, Laurie Quinn, from the Stern Center for Language and Learning. They're out in Vermont, and which somehow I managed to not get to visit and kind of enjoy the fall leaves and all that good stuff. But this is a special one for me today because Laurie is following a founder that was with the organization for 38 years. Wowza. And so it's just been so fun for me, to learn the history of the organization, just what they've been through, the incredible work that they're doing with students and teachers, but also to see her chart her own path ahead and kind of figure out what was working, what was working, what's not working, what do I want to change, what do I want to retain. And she's just an incredible, reflective leader who embraces change, tries new things, and she talks a little bit about like the bravery it takes to do that in this podcast. And I love that framing. I love that willingness to try something new, or to know that, like, hey, if you do try something new, and even if it doesn't work, you did the proper research and learning and data and everything that went into that decision. So that's okay. So I hope you enjoy this conversation today from a language lover. I just love some of the phrasing she used today in our discussion, but also hear about her success she's had through our work and just the objectivity and maybe the new take that she has on some fundraising practices now. So enjoy the conversation. Laurie, thanks so much for hopping on the podcast with me today.
I'm glad to be with you, Sherry.
Oh my goodness. So we have a lot to discuss as we're wrapping up our engagement here. But I would love, as I ask all my guests, for you to introduce yourself and especially just the role that you've taken on here these last few years, following a founder that was in her position for 38 years. And just what that has been like, just inheriting relationships in an organization and still charting your own path.
Yes, it's a fine balance, and it's a good question. I'm at this work now at the Stern Center for Language and Learning for 5 years. Started in 2021, and as you said, followed a founder, which I think takes a certain kind of intention and a certain mindfulness about relationships, which of course is at the heart of the work we've been doing together. Right. So the way that I thought about it coming into this was really with quite a lot of humility. I mean, I feel like humility was the order of the day when I said yes to a job that was following a founder, and not only a founder, Sherry, but a clinical expert, a researcher who really had a vision for what the Stern Center could become. And so when I came in, I promised myself that I would take it step by step, that I would really stay open to the learning that was possible for me as a leader in this role. I came from higher education leadership roles, and there were a lot of through lines. Yeah. One of them was certainly the importance of learning. Learning's in the name of this organization. And so I promised myself I'd come in with that really deep commitment to the learning mindset and to the relationships, because certainly with fundraising, with advancing your organization, those relationships are make or break. Yeah. And when you follow a founder, the relationship with the founder is one of those critical relationships. Right. I've been really fortunate that that's a friendship, it's a mutual respect, it's a shared passion for this mission. Yeah. But of course, I come at the work very differently. I'm a different leader, a different person, and a different time.
Right. Yeah, and just even taking on, I mean, right post-COVID, I mean, like I can imagine the business model, maybe some elements changed, and I mean, just really embracing that change and learning together.
Yeah, for sure. And there's I spoke about the balance. I think finding that balance, particularly in conversations with my board early on, about what must we preserve about this very special mission and this place. And what can we evolve together with excitement,
Yes.
right? Where can we build shared passion for the new things
Right.
that we get to say yes to? Because yes, the pandemic rearranged so many things.
Mm.
One of the decisions early on, no surprise, lots of organizational leaders were in this spot. One of the decisions early on is, what kind of organization are we coming back to be?
Mm.
Will we remain mostly a place-based organization?
Yeah.
Or will we, in fact, begin to take this really important mission, seize this incredible opportunity of everybody needing to get very good at virtual learning very quickly?
Right.
Let's seize on that. Let's make that a strength for our potential to bring this mission to others.
Love it. And Laurie, give me a couple lines on like what does the Stern Center do for people who are
Sure.
wondering?
Yes. So Stern Center for Language and Learning is really primarily an education-focused organization. Our mission is to make learning better for all and to make teaching stronger at the other end of the system, if you will. And so we work at both points of where learning can happen, both the teachers and the learners. And we're experts in the science of reading. We help a lot of kids learn to read. We support school partners and teachers one-on-one with coaching programs, with further learning in their profession. Really, we were founded and we've continued to be a place where the very best of what is known about how people learn gets applied in real practical ways for the betterment of learners' lives, especially.
So important. And then Laurie, so you said a little bit about your background, but had you done a tremendous amount of fundraising before or sales or like, kind of talk to me about how you came into this, when we first met and you reached out, kind of give me that context.
Sure. Well, it's sort of funny. I mean, I trained to be an English professor. So no is the short answer to, had you done a lot of fundraising?
You're not the first person who has said that on this podcast.
But I believe really strongly in the power of story. And that's a through line for me in the work that I've done. I actually took a little detour out of higher education when I first earned my doctorate. I went to work for a nonprofit. And so I feel, looking back on that, I feel so fortunate that I had that stint in my career of understanding, how do organizations work?
Yeah.
How do you build community across a mission? How do you learn to be pretty scrappy? And I know you and I have had some good conversations about how scrappy can cut both ways in an organization. It can be both a tremendous strength and it can hold you back.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I've really valued in our conversations and taken from our work together. So after that, I then went really deep into understanding higher education. And again, with the academic, the scholarship background, the teaching background, I've always paid attention to stories.
Yeah.
I've always been moved by the power of story. I've always been passionate about telling story. I'm an Irish girl. I love to tell a story, and I think there's an absolute power for philanthropy, for those who are motivated to give back, in understanding how stories connect to each other and connect us to important work in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you got your feet under you, kind of understood the revenue model, understood, you have a number of very generous people giving to the organization. What was the hold on a second, we're going to need to also shift and grow, philanthropy, what was that like, there's something to fix that I need some help with moment?
Yeah. I think so often in this sector, we make the mistake of thinking that viability equals you squeaked by for another year. You live to fight another day and help some more folks and advance the good work.
Yeah.
And yes, of course, that's a victory every year. This is a tough line of work. The numbers don't often add up. Our commitments to nurturing our people are really hard won. Paying a fair wage and having decent benefits, all of the things that we as helpers, we go into this work often because we identify as helpers. And certainly for those of us in education, the idea of giving to that next generation is just hardwired. It's bedrock. And so when I think about the opportunity for nonprofits to really thrive, I think about our revenue model because we have both programs, services, and a growing philanthropic piece, without which we might squeak by with viability, but we sure don't have vibrancy.
Right.
We don't have innovation. We can't be the very best at what we're doing. We can't reinvest. We can't really follow the data to new and exciting actions. And so that's what gets me jazzed about the fundraising piece. Yes, the relationships. Yes, the chance to tell powerful stories, but also the opportunity to solve a really thorny business problem that I've seen play out in our sector for years and years.
And so, talk to me about the types of, you guys have I think, like you said, you've been really focused on relationships, which I appreciate. And I think allowed us to even move quickly as we started talking to donors and getting, results. Talk to me about just the culture change in fundraising that had to happen. What did you have to say? We're going to stop doing that and start doing this as you evolved this.
One thing that we were already good at was, and appropriately so, was stewardship, gratitude, being able to express back to donors how much their generosity actually meant and how important it was. And we were not often ambitious enough in articulating for our donors what our business dilemmas were. And are. And we're doing that now in a way that I think has helped folks to really understand, gosh, this place has been around for 40 plus years. I still regularly run into folks who have grown children who say to me, oh, the Stern Center, turn around for our kid, turn around for our family, huge payoff. And then they tell me about what the person who's a Stern Center alumni is doing now. And, those stories.
Awesome.
Talk about walking on air after understanding that your impact is unfolding over generations. And I love bringing those stories back to my team. They know I love hearing them. And our donors resonate with those stories, of course, because they want to know that they've made that difference with us, that without them, honestly, it wouldn't have been possible.
Right.
And so when I think about the opportunity to really open up our practices in fundraising, I think about the way we've paid, and this is right up my alley, paid a certain kind of attention with you and your guidance to our language, to our word choices, to our frequency of care and contact, and also to our... how do I put it? Also to it's a kind of bravery, Sherry, our bravery about naming what we need and trusting that these incredibly generous supporters who've been with us, many of them all this time, will step forward. And we're seeing that. We're also excited about reaching out to new generations of donors. It is so much fun to see someone who is early career or mid-career have the aha moment. Oh, okay. I want to do something good. If I invest in even one learner and their turnaround, their breakthrough moment, I'm going to see that play out across generations.
Totally.
Right. So it's such a rewarding mission. It's so intuitive. People know what it means to have had a wonderful teacher.
Yes.
They know what it means the first time they felt someone understood that they were smart.
Oh.
Right? Or when they found their thing in life and they began to really get passionate about learning everything they could. That really resonates intuitively. So I don't have to do a lot of explaining. I just have to make space for those stories and let the people who want to nurture them do the good that's already in them, right?
Yeah.
They already get it.
I love that. You know, the language part in the case for support was really fun with you because you are a writer and
Such a word nerd,
English
yes.
teacher. You know, like all of those things came to play. Um, Talk to me about, you know, we were telling the story of what you just said, that you changed lives and clarity and kids really like feeling smart and like all of those stories that are like, oh, and I can just like feel myself in the classroom or, you know, as a student with a teacher in those moments. But also I love the bravery comment because you're so right, Laurie. Like it is a step of bravery to say, this is the year we're budgeting to what we need versus our squeak by or the number we know we can hit. And
Yeah.
so part of that work, and it's been fun with you, is to not only tell that mission story that you're so good at, but also to move a little bit stronger into that investment level story with donors and what you truly need to grow and financially what the needs are and how you're funded and all of these things. How is that shift kind of embracing, you know, I would say like the final couple chapters, adding more chapters to your storytelling? How's that felt for you?
Really exciting. It's fun to, yes, it's fun to think about the language, but it's also really, I think it's, giving is so personal.
Mm.
I was listening to something recently in my own learning. I try to stay as plugged in as I can to interesting things in not only this field, but, broadly, so that new ideas have plenty of space to grow. And one of the things I was listening to was honestly a very technocratic approach to philanthropy. And while I think that has some value, and I am a huge data person, and I love to follow the evidence and the numbers, I also believe really strongly that there is something, I guess it's spiritual. There's something spiritual about the call to give and give back.
Yes.
And so it's a deep human motivation.
Yes.
Right? Where we see something that we know we can help make better. And I see that certainly across our incredibly dedicated and skilled staff. I see it on our board all the time, a volunteer board, giving plenty of time and wisdom, and yes, 100% board giving every year without fail. Being able to kind of link arms with our donors and say, yeah, we're doing something really important here that goes deeper than a smart investment.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to be a good bet. We want to be a smart investment. We want to be a well-run place with solid financials that we can be proud of. And we also want to move you.
Yes.
We want to move you to help us ensure this place isn't taken for granted as the resource that it is. Yeah. And that through us, the next generation of kids can count on those learning transformations that, kid by kid, we change people's lives. Right. And teacher by teacher now, we're really scaling that up to say, let's do it classroom by classroom. Let's do it school by school. Let's quicken the pace because way too many kids are out there feeling undervalued as learners, or they don't know yet how smart they are. Yeah.
So you brought up your board. So I always am waiting for that window to bring up the board. Talk to me a little bit about how, maybe before we jump into our work, just how have you migrated the board, changed the board since you came on? Has it just evolved as leadership has evolved? And how have they embraced fundraising and maybe some of the new ways we're doing things?
There's a lot of excitement right now on the board about, because, and I give you great credit here, Sherry, you have lowered the fear factor that even our most confident, accomplished business people get a little jumpy when we think they're going to ask them to hit up their friends, right? Yes. And so I think breaking that down for the board with your help and figuring out how to really deploy their individual talents, right? Some get really excited about talking to corporate networks. Others are very excited to really help us go after that, game changer legacy gift, and they
Yes.
have someone in mind for that. Others are connected to foundations. Others are younger professionals who have a really remarkable network, given especially that so many of us now work, across state borders, across our local communities.
Right.
And so it's been really, really exciting to see the board sort of pick their spot where
Love
they
it.
want to help. And we have this larger vision of reaching more learners, inspiring more teachers, and making sure that we have more than a solid foundation, that we actually have an engine behind us
Yes.
that we build together for
Yes.
that next few chapters of the Stern Center.
Yeah, love their energy, especially in our board workshop of, moving right into solution. No surprise that you have a board of learners too, and they were on board for just to do the work in a stronger way and support the organization. So let's pivot a little bit. What would you say? Maybe, I mean, you've touched on a number of things, but what would you say would be some particular aspects that maybe have made the difference for you, or maybe have made just some shifts or some objectivity that's come out of our work?
I think for me, this kind of consultancy is an ideal match. As a leader, I was looking to reimagine our team. And I was very honest with you when we got together. I said, listen, I'm in a moment of tremendous transformation. I've got 2 longtime staff retiring. I'm 5 years in. I have a part-time, very skilled person who I work closely with in fundraising, but we are a really lean team right now.
Yeah.
And before we begin, in a nonprofit, every position you add is gold. You've got to know what you need. You've got to refine that. Before we add anybody back, I want to be really sure of exactly where we're headed, what's possible, and what our orientation to those fundraising conversations needs to look like. Yeah. And so it was a great time to partner up with you and to kind of just reset the table for the organization. 5 years in, I had been attending to lots of things,
yes,
as one does in a new role. And in any organization, there are curveballs, right? I mean,
right.
I started during the pandemic. If I wasn't expecting any curveballs, right, I really had another thing coming. But I also think that the chance to pause with you, I love your year-long model, because I think it is, perhaps not surprisingly, it matches, in my mind, how learning actually works. And when an individual or an organization is ready to learn and stretch, trying to do that quickly, more often than not, that's doomed to fail.
Yes.
And so we went deliberately together. We covered a lot of ground. The lessons pull forward very naturally for us as a now growing team. And I think that the many aha moments we've had along the way with you have just taught us to internalize some of those questions, and build muscle as a team, right? What do we need to ask about this initiative? Is this the right time to do this particular thing? Are we committed enough to showing our donors? Because we feel it. It's not like we aren't feeling it. But are we doing a good and systematic and thorough job of stewarding their generosity and reflecting back to them what an important difference they're making? I love that work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the holiday season right now. Being able to thank people as they make year-end, calendar-end gifts, being able to connect with donors over, we're here in Vermont, we're based in Vermont, something very warm to drink together is usually a baseline starting point. But it's a time of the year when I get to be even closer to that work.
Yes.
of just opening up the space for really genuine gratitude.
Yeah.
We feel it.
Yes.
We need to show it.
Yes. My teacher mother would love to hear that it felt like our work together felt like the school year or something, because I never went down that path, but she would love to hear that.
Well, but you did, Sherry. I mean, that's a big belief I have, that
Hmm.
when leaders step forward across different fields,
Yeah.
they are teaching.
Yes.
Teaching is not solely, although it is a very important and should be cherished as a profession. Teaching is an identity.
Yes.
And when you help other people learn, as far as I'm concerned, you're a teacher.
Yeah. I love that. I'll be a teacher today. Laurie, there was something you said early on in our work, and I wrote it down because I don't know if I have to like convince people of that sometimes, but you said it and I was like, oh, she totally gets it. And what you were alluding to was, you were like, wow, this work is really it's really ED or CEO first. Because a lot of people come to me and say, hey, fix my fundraising team. Like, they're not, it's like, I can work with your fundraising team, but really this is at the business level. This is the root. This is CEO work first, to make sure that, you are leading in a way where, your revenue is reflecting how you're leading, and in so many different ways. Could you just talk a little bit about just maybe, I don't know, how you will approach fundraising differently from like growing your team, or just maybe how that's changed your just overall approach from a CEO perspective?
I think that I think it's a real pitfall of organizational leadership, particularly in the nonprofit sector, when we say, I'm not a fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, these conversations are pretty common.
Yeah.
Where you have somebody who says, well, perhaps they have the confidence to say, I bring a lot of other things to the table, but I don't bring that.
Yes.
And I think when we start with a deficit mindset about what's in us, I say this as a learner and as a teacher, when we start with a deficit, we tend to get what we expect.
Yes.
And I see this every day at the Stern Center with the students that we serve, and sometimes with the teachers we serve. When we believe that new learning is possible, that the foundation is there, we end up as CEOs, we end up actually quietly, I think. You don't just come in guns blazing, but we model the learning that we do expect of our teams. They see us. If it's not natural to us, money is a taboo subject in our culture.
Yes.
And folks don't want to be impolite. But as we see play out over and over again, nonprofits can really suffer from that mindset.
Yeah.
And people can work themselves for years and years and years without the benefit of donors really being invited into that labor with them. Yeah. And I think of it as a two-way gift, right? So if you can get to that mindset as a CEO, I think amazing things are possible across a team, even a tiny one like the one that I had when we began working together. Yeah. And then I think when teams grow and learn together, they're unstoppable. Yes. I mean, you cannot imagine the strength of teams that came through. The pandemic's a good example.
Yes. There
was a lot of destruction during that time, certainly across our culture, but also in our organizations. And the teams that dug in and learned and survived and didn't splinter,
right,
were the teams that valued the learning that they did together, and that were able to say, this is really hard, but we see another side that we're going to come through, and we'll be stronger for it.
Yeah, it's a different bond for sure.
It's a bond. And I think many organizations saw their donors step forward during that time, right? The donors were part of that team.
Yes.
For how do we survive this together? How do we make sure the good work goes on? People need us more than ever. Well, what does that mean for how we roll
Yes.
as a cohesive unit?
Yeah, so good. So Laurie, as we kind of wrap up, what's maybe the biggest tangible outcome that you've seen from our work together, or maybe some examples of just different conversations you're having with people?
First and foremost, results. No mission, no margin is real, and so by the numbers, we are stronger. We're doing better. We're raising more money, and actually, at the moment, we're raising more money with less staff.
Yes, right.
So that's an important business ratio.
Oh, wow.
That's positive. We are also much more conscious. I think that fundraising can become, at its worst, it can become a rote routine.
Yes.
And it is a space for such potential creativity and joy. It's a possible part of the work that can be among the most joyful things we do as leaders. And so tuning us into that has been a powerful takeaway that I'm grateful to you for. And finally, for our specific organizational purposes, having the courage to tell our story more broadly in different ways and reaching out to particularly that kind of middle tier of donors and to new donors with confidence that you don't already have to know everything about what we do to be moved to give to a mission like this.
Yeah.
And so, it's been really wonderful to get the chance to dig into that important work with you.
Yeah, it's been fun to learn, pun intended, just about the work, I think, and your approach. And I say that like, I would call you an A+ student, even though you're teaching students, but just I can see the gears turning when I'm telling you something, and it's like, I'll be right back. And next meeting, you're there with it, and you've processed it, and you've taken it to the next step. And so that just makes the work fun for me too, which this engagement has been super fun. Laurie, any parting words, any advice you'd have for someone who's maybe, stepping into your shoes, following a founder, wanting to pause and reflect? What would that advice be that you'd give that person who's perhaps listening?
I would say so much will come at you that if you don't commit to reflection time and planning time, it might sink you.
Yes.
There's a tremendous opportunity in pausing long enough to feel, listen, we all make mistakes. You might make the wrong decision, but you will have made it because you have considered it with the information that's available to you. You'll make the best decision you possibly can, and be open to the learning. If it turns out to be wrong, don't be afraid to call it.
Yes.
Do something else.
Yes.
You probably had another good idea, and if you took the time to reflect at the beginning of the process and capture that other idea, you can go back to it.
Yes.
We're not stuck with things unless we stick with them.
Yeah.
So, let's have that openness to what the learning can provide in roles like these. And I really believe strongly in the positive ripple effect through a whole community, wherever your stakeholders are, of having the commitment to that reflection and learning.
Love that. I had a coach who she required us to have a thinking chair during our work together. And she's like, go sit in the thinking chair. But is it on your calendar that you're thinking? And so I can tell when I stop doing it, because it's just you're at a different pace and pattern internally even.
Yeah.
Laurie, how can people find you? What's the best way for them to find you if they want to follow up or reach out?
Easiest is our website. So that's Stern Center, and it's stern.org.
Great. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you sharing your story and your journey and just a bit of our work together with the audience.
It's my pleasure. It's been fun.
Thanks.